A horror story for English learners, A2 to B1 level. The Haunted Mask. Part 1. The Antique Shop. Emily was 22 years old. She loved collecting unusual objects. Whenever she visited a new town, she searched for antique shops. One rainy afternoon, she discovered a small shop hidden in an old street. The sign above the door read, "Blackwood Antiques." The shop looked dark and dusty. Emily stepped inside. Ancient clocks ticked softly. Old paintings covered the walls. The owner, Mr. Blackwood, stood behind a wooden counter. He was an elderly man with grey hair and sharp eyes. "Welcome. Looking for something special?" "Just browsing." Emily walked around the shop. Then she noticed something strange. A mask hanging on the far wall. It was beautiful, but unsettling. The mask was black and silver. Its eyes were narrow. Its smile looked almost human. Emily could not stop staring at it. Where did this come from? Mr. Blackwood immediately. Part 2. A Strange Purchase. Emily was fascinated. The more she looked at the mask, the more she wanted it. After several minutes, she returned to the counter. "Please, I really want to buy it." Mr. Blackwood looked uncomfortable. "I strongly advise against it. It's just an old mask." The old man sighed. "Very well. But remember this. Never wear it after midnight." Emily laughed. "That's a very dramatic warning." The old man did not smile. "I'm serious." Emily paid for the mask and left. Outside, thunder rolled across the sky. Part 3. The First Night. Back at her apartment, Emily placed the mask on a shelf. It looked impressive, almost like a piece of art. That evening, her friend Ryan came to visit. "Wow, that's creepy. I bought it from an antique shop. I wouldn't want that thing watching me all night." Emily laughed. But secretly, she understood what he meant. The mask seemed alive somehow. Its eyes appeared to follow people around the room. Later that night, Emily went to bed. At around 2 a.m., she suddenly woke up. The apartment was silent. Then she heard something. A whisper. Very soft. Very distant. "Emily." Emily sat upright. Her heart raced. She turned on the light. Nothing was there. But something had changed. The mask was no longer facing the wall. Now it seemed to be looking directly at her bed. The next morning, Emily convinced herself she had imagined everything. The mask had probably moved by accident. That evening, she cleaned her apartment. While carrying a mirror into the living room, she accidentally looked at the mask's reflection. She froze. In the reflection, the mask appeared different. Its smile was wider. Much wider. Emily
Emily immediately turned around. The real mask looked normal. What is happening? She looked back at the mirror. The smile was normal again. Emily felt a chill run down her spine.
Part 5. The warning returns. The next day, Emily returned to Blackwood Antiques. Mr. Blackwood looked worried when he saw her. "You bought the mask? Have you worn it?" "No, but strange things are happening." The old man nodded slowly, as if he expected this answer. "Tell me the truth. What is this thing?" Mr. Blackwood looked around before speaking. Many years ago, the mask belonged to a travelling actor. People loved his performances, but eventually something changed. Changed how? He became obsessed with the mask. He wore it every night. Then he began hearing voices, seeing shadows. One day, he disappeared. Only the mask remained. Emily felt uneasy. That's just a story. Maybe, or maybe not. Part 6. Midnight Curiosity. That night, Emily couldn't stop thinking about the mask. The old man's story stayed in her mind. At 11:55 p.m., she sat in front of it. 5 minutes before midnight. It's just an object, nothing more. The clock struck midnight. 12 loud chimes echoed through the apartment. Then Emily made a terrible mistake. She picked up the mask and put it on. At first, nothing happened. Then the room became colder, much colder. The lights flickered. The shadows on the walls seemed to move. And then she heard a voice, very close to her ear. Finally. Part 7. The Other Face. Emily quickly removed the mask, but the voice continued. "I've waited so long." Emily dropped the mask. "Who's there?" No answer. Then she noticed something horrifying. Her reflection in the mirror was not copying her movements. The reflection remained completely still, smiling. Emily stepped backward. The reflection smiled wider. "No." The reflection slowly raised its hand, even though Emily had not moved. Then it pointed toward the mask. The room filled with whispers, dozens of voices speaking at once. Wear it again. Wear it again. Wear it again.
Part 8. Trapped. The lights suddenly went out. Darkness swallowed the apartment. Emily grabbed her phone flashlight. The beam illuminated the room. Everything looked normal. Then she saw the mask. It was no longer on the floor. Now it rested on the sofa, facing her, watching her. A cold laugh echoed through the apartment. Part 9.
The secret of the mask. Suddenly, Emily remembered something. Inside the antique shop, she had seen a small symbol carved into the back of the mask. A strange symbol, shaped like a circle. She grabbed the mask and turned it over. The symbol was still there. Underneath it were tiny words. The face is the prison. Emily stared at the sentence. Then she understood. Something was trapped inside the mask, and wearing it allowed the spirit to escape. Quickly, she grabbed a heavy metal box from her closet. The whispers became angry. "Don't do this!" Emily placed the mask inside, then slammed the lid shut. Immediately, the apartment became silent. The cold air vanished. The lights returned. Everything was normal again.
Part 10. One Last Smile. The next morning, Emily returned to Blackwood Antiques. She carried the locked box with her. Mr. Blackwood listened carefully as she explained everything. The old man nodded. You were fortunate. Others were not. Together, they locked the box inside a secure storage room beneath the shop. Several thick chains surrounded it. Emily felt relieved. The nightmare was finally over. Or so she believed. A week later, she received a package at her apartment. There was no return address. Confused, she opened it. Inside was a photograph. A picture of the storage room. The chains were broken. The box was open. And resting on top of it was the mask. On the back of the photograph were 4 handwritten words. Thank you for freeing me. Emily's hands began to shake. Slowly, she looked toward the mirror in her apartment. At first, everything seemed normal. Then, her reflection smiled. A smile